The NFL season is barreling at us at lightning speeds. That's why we are here with your running back rankings.
Perfect.
We are back. Welcome back to the Fourth and Flex Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm Bandy. That guy's Trey, and the time is now, buddy. We're getting close.
Getting close, man. Another week down, and another week of research, another week of excitement, getting ready for the NFL season, man. I'm really getting there. I'm getting hyped up.
I seen a thing. It's like 50 something days is how far we are that. So we need to be mocking them like it's hot too, buddy. Guys, fantasy advice right there, hitting you off the rip. Make sure you're doing those mock drafts, man. Find us on Sleeper, Bandy B Flexin, and you can get in some mock drafts with your boys.
For sure.
But we are here for a reason. That reason is our running back rankings. We're just cranking them off for you, man. We're going to start at number 10. We're going to work our way down, and I'm going to go ahead and get it started right now, man. Coming in at my number 10 on our running back rankings list, I've got Isaiah Pacheco. Okay. Last season, 205 carries, 935 yards, Trey, 7 touchdowns, RB 13 in half PPR, 7th in red zone touches, which is interesting, man. I mean, it's the Chiefs. It felt like last season they actually did lean on him a little bit, and that's how you got an RB 13 finish out of him. I think he'll do better this season. I think the Chiefs need to rely on him a little more this season, man. And it's supposedly, from what I hear, they may not be keeping your boy Jerick McKinnon. If that happens, dude, Pacheco's going to be leading the backfield. And every time we've seen him lead the backfield, he has done a very good job, Trey.
Without a doubt. And for all those reasons you just said, I actually have him higher on my list than 10. I think Isaiah Pacheco is going to have an amazing year, and I think he's going to have to. I know the Chiefs brought in some new wide receivers to try to help out the wide receiver room, but I mean, some of those guys are rookies. Hollywood Brown, we don't know if he still has enough gas in the tank, so they're going to have to rely on Isaiah Pacheco like they did in the playoffs.
Yeah, buddy. Absolutely, man. Yeah, I'm excited to see what Pacheco pulls off this season.
But jumping to my number 10 on my list, a guy that's probably going to surprise a lot of you, a guy who didn't finish in the top 15 last year at running back. But this year, I think he definitely breaks the top 10 here. And that's going to be James Conner. All right. 19th overall last year. But listen, he missed 4 games, from an injury. He had 208 carries for 1,080 yards, 7 touchdowns, 27 receptions for 2 touchdowns. Listen, he missed 4 games, but over the back half of the season, he was a top 5 running back 5 of the 6 games of the last season. Now he gets Murray back. They've got rookie Marvin Harrison Jr. to pull some heat away from the line. I think James Conner goes off this year, man. I think he is a great sleeping running back to grab as an RB2 who could potentially be RB1 material.
That is a fiery hot take, my friend. James Conner at number 10 on Trey's running back rankings. That's man. I'm excited now. You're pumping me up for James Conner now, man.
Yeah, man. And I had to pump myself up to even put him on the list, but I was like looking at the numbers and I'm like, dude, he was top 5 running back 5 of the 6 last games of the season, in a row.
Yeah. Yeah, buddy. James Conner, man. We've seen him be great. I mean, I don't think it was the season before last, but maybe it was the season before that. His first season on the Cardinals. I mean, he was fire, bro. That guy, double-digit touchdowns, I think, in 2022, if I remember correctly. I mean, he was on fire. So we know he has the capabilities, man. And I hope you're right, man.
I just want you to keep this in your mind as we go through the rest of the show, okay? He missed 4 games of the season, and he had 1,080 yards on the ground. When we're talking about the yards from all these other running backs, think about that, and he missed 4 games.
Fiery hot, my friend. Fiery hot. James Conner coming in at number 10 in
Yes,
the running
sir.
back rankings. But let's keep it going. Going down to number 9. Take my number 9 on my list, man. Somebody who didn't make the top 10 last season either. I actually don't know if he was in the top 15 now that I'm thinking about it. I think he was 16 last season. Kenneth Walker.
Okay.
K9 for the Seahawks, man. Last season, 219 carries, 905 yards, 8 touchdowns. He was RB20. I actually had that already. RB20. Look, I want you to take something else into consideration, man. Last season, he had a bruised shoulder, a strained oblique, a chest issue, a tender calf. I mean, all those were injuries that he retained last season. He still managed to be in the top 20. So that tells you something, man. I know that people are worried about Zach Charbonnet in the backfield, like taking carries from K9, but that happened so much last season because of all the injuries to K9, man. I think if we get a healthy K9 going ham, he can easily make the top 10 and be number 9 on this list, Trey.
Yeah, man. I actually don't have Kenneth Walker on my top 10 list, but I do like the take. The only thing that I will say, being that I've been a big fan of Seattle for a long time, is that Pete Carroll likes to do the 2 running back thing.
He does.
And that does worry me a little bit about the volume that Kenneth Walker is going to get. But if he is healthy, he doesn't need the volume. Given the ball, he's going to get a 60-yard touchdown. So I like the idea of him breaking the top 10 this year. I think it definitely could be possible.
Is Pete Carroll still the coach?
I believe so.
I thought he. I don't know. We have to do some research.
Yeah, you might be right. Actually, this offseason, I think he's out of there. So maybe there's some movement going on.
Exactly. There's just so many.
He's still in the facility, but he's not the head coach. I think that's how
he's pulling a Bruce Arian on us. Yeah, he's like the advisor or something.
Right, like because they're like, we got to get you out of here, but you put in the tenure, so we're not going to make it look disrespectful. Right.
And maybe he's still going to be pulling some strings, his 2 backfield thing is still going to be a thing. So, it's going to be interesting, man. K9, bro, coming in, man. Keep an eye out.
K9 at number 9, huh?
Yes, sir. K9.
All right, number 9 on my list is probably going to shock a couple people just because I have him lower than most people do, but it's Jahmyr Gibbs.
Okay.
Number 9 on my list. A lot of people got him up there, man.
Yeah.
And I've got him last year. He had 182 carries for 945 yards. Less than James Conner, just point that out. 10 touchdowns, 52 receptions, though, and 1 touchdown in the air. Really good for PPR with that 52 reception mark, which we knew that going into the season that he was going to be a pass-catching back.
Yep.
The reason why I have him at number 9 on my list is mostly because of David Montgomery being still in Detroit.
Sure.
And we saw what he did last year with the touchdown and the goal line work. Plus, his offense is very versatile. They've got a lot of hard hitters. Amon-Ra. All these guys, they got many options. They don't have to give the volume to Gibbs because they have so many great options on the team, which worries me about his production. So that's why I have him at 9.
Yeah, no, I'm one of those guys that have him a little higher than that. I'll be honest with you, Trey. But David Montgomery is the issue here to you. You think David Montgomery, like last season, is going to take a lot of work, take the touchdowns. And that's why Jahmyr Gibbs did finish as low as he did last season, or as high as he did, whatever, last season. But David Montgomery is one of those guys who also is hurt a lot. And that
very true.
When he was injured, that's when Jahmyr Gibbs, started showing us like, hey, this is why they drafted me number 7 overall last season. And honestly, I'm going to say that they're going to use him more. He was a rookie. He was coming in. He was learning the system, learning things, still managed to have a great finish last season. So I feel like Jahmyr Gibbs is going to do a little better than that, though.
And I feel you. I just think you're banking on a David Montgomery injury for Jahmyr Gibbs to break the top 5.
I guess kind of in a sense, yes. But who knows?
Who knows? That's right.
Hey, Sir Bones a lot popping in, saying in the clouds as per usual.
In the clouds.
And looky there, we got a new member of our YouTube channel, Sir Bongs a lot. Welcome in, buddy. Welcome to the Flexaholics here, my friend.
Welcome.
Yeah, buddy. Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that love, my friend. Yeah. All right, buddy. Moving on. Number 8. Yeah.
Number 8. Let's hear it.
Let's get into it, man. My number 8 on my list, Kyren Williams.
All right.
Kyren Williams sitting at number 8. 227 carries in 2023, 1,144 yards, 12 touchdowns. Okay. RB4 finish last season, RB2 in fantasy points per game. So Kyren Williams kind of took the Rams, the league, the fantasy community by storm. A couple players on the Rams did last season, my friend. Kicked Cam Akers out the club in week 2.
Yeah.
Cam Akers, where'd he go?
No
one knows. Exactly. Exactly. Look, he played 72% of the snaps in 10 of 11 games that he played last season. That's a lot of Kyren Williams. Some people might say that he finished higher than 8. I could definitely see it happening. I love Kyren Williams. I want a piece of that action. Absolutely. But you just never know what's going to happen, my friend. And that's why I got him sitting at 8.
Yeah, man. It's actually, in a way, kind of a hot take. A lot of people got him a lot higher this year, and it's because of the stats. But a lot of people think that, that was kind of a takeoff year, and that he's going to have a little bit of regression this year, especially in the touchdown category, I believe. So, I can see it. I have him a little bit higher on my list, but I agree with you. He finishes right around here.
Yeah, absolutely, buddy.
Jumping to number 8 on my list. This is going to hurt your feelings just a little bit, but not too much because I still got him in the top 10. And that is the King, Derrick Henry, at number 8 on my list. A solid number 8. Don't get me wrong. There's just a lot going on. So last year he had 280 carries for 1,167 yards, 12 touchdowns, 26 receptions, no touchdowns throughout the air. The only reason I have him ranked this low is due to his another year. He's a little bit older, and he's got a new team. So there's a lot of changes. We don't know what that looks like yet, but there are a lot of opportunities to score touchdowns on the Ravens. And so I also think if they will use him in the pass catching game, it's going to be beneficial for his age, because once he gets downfield, if it's one-on-one, Derrick Henry's winning.
No, you're right. How many times have we seen Derrick Henry at the second level just bust off?
Exactly.
My issue with Derrick Henry is that he's 30 years old. That seems to be the problem with him, but he was 29 last season, still had a top 10 finish last season. That's something to definitely keep in mind. I have him just a smidge higher, and it didn't hurt my feelings. I could see him coming in at number 8 easily.
Yeah, and my thing is they say that he's going to be the bell cow back for the Ravens, but Tennessee he was more than a bell cow back. Yeah. He was the entire offense. So when you say a bell cow back for Derrick Henry, to me, I think he's touching the ball every play. And the Ravens aren't going to do that. They've got Lamar Jackson who's going to run. They've got receivers to get open. They've got great tight ends, Mark Andrews. So I think that it's going to take a little bit away from Derrick Henry, but that honestly might be beneficial to his playability, because he's not getting so much work.
I mean, how many carries is Lamar going to take from Derrick Henry?
That's the question.
Yeah, buddy, it is the question. Just don't forget that he's the king for a reason, my friend.
Without a doubt.
Yes, buddy. Yeah, buddy. Let's keep it rolling, baby, to number 7. Coming in at number 7 for the Jaguars, Travis Etienne. Okay, 267 yards in 2023. Barely surpassing 1,000 yards, but still going over 1,000 yards, 1,008 yards. Okay, 11 touchdowns, which I love. I love them TDs, my friend. RB3 finish last season in half PPR. Here's the thing. I would love to put ETN a little higher, especially in half PPR. We know they like to throw the ball to him, but it's consistency issues last season were the problem. Like, it was Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. It was up, it was down. He would have a great week or two and then nothing from ETN. And that was the issue. I mean, he still managed to have an RB3 finish, which is great. But it's the consistency is the issues that I have. Another thing is the Jaguars O-line. Last season was terrible, but he still managed to finish that high. That's got to tell you something, man, about his running skills and receiving ability.
Yeah, man. It's crazy. I think our this is probably the most different our lists have been. Since we've been doing this, because I don't have ATN on my top 10. I actually have him at number 12. But and to me, it's just the I worry about the Jags offense and how that's going to play out. I know they lost Calvin Ridley, which should benefit him, but it also might hurt the entire offense. You know what I mean? And they might not even get to the red zone. So it does worry me, but I do think ETN is going to be good this year. There's a lot of great running backs to look at this year, and he fell out of my list.
Whew, that hurts, buddy. That hurts. What you got coming in?
So coming in at my number 7, I've got Isaiah Pacheco at my number 7 on my list. So a little bit higher than you had him. Like you said, 205 carries, 935 yards, 7 touchdowns, 2 through the air. He averaged 20 carries in the last 4 games. And like you said, 7th in the NFL in red zone carries, which is really big and surprising to me. I didn't think that. I would think Patrick Mahomes had more of the red zone carries. But, they gave the ball to Pacheco because they love Pacheco. He's a vital piece of this offense, and like I said earlier, they've added some new receivers, but I really think Pacheco is they're going to use him, man, the way he runs downfield, and I think also they're going to use him to keep other players fresh while they work on this three-peat. You know what I mean? They're going to keep Travis Kelce benched a little bit more throughout the season, I think, and a couple other star players. So that way they can get that three-peat and they don't got to worry about injuries. And they're just like, screw it. If we're winning, hand it off to Pacheco 100 times.
Yeah. I mean, how many times did we see Pacheco just take the ball and go crazy with it on plays when we didn't expect that to even happen, man?
Exactly.
They needed 3 yards. He got 20. You know what I mean? Pacheco is a beast. He's a monster. He just looks like one of them guys, bro. That's just, he don't care, man. He like, did the longest yard, Nelly? 100%. That's what I see, like Nelly from the longest yard when it comes to Pacheco, man. Just like country. I feel like he's a country dude, and he just runs through them guys. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The Chiefs really got them a good one when they got Pacheco. And again, I said it earlier about Jerick McKinnon possibly leaving the Chiefs organization. They will definitely have a fill-in there. Are they going to keep Clyde Edwards-Helaire? I mean, who knows, right? But yeah, Jerick McKinnon of it all is going to, I think, make or break what we see from Pacheco next season.
Without a doubt, you see that he had, he didn't have any receiving touch or only 2 receiving touchdowns. A lot of those were taken away from Jerick McKinnon. So if that switches up, then, I say a lot, a couple. And, but, add those to the list and that makes him look a lot better.
Exactly, buddy. Exactly. Good stuff. Moving to number 6, Moving to my number 6, a guy we already touched on, not in my top 5 for the first time in a few years, and that's the Kang, Derrick Henry. Again, we touched on it a little bit already. Again, I'm going to say again, he's turning 30. That's the issue. He is the king, as I said earlier. He will probably surprise a lot of people, and he's got a new team now. Is Lamar going to take carries from him? Are the Ravens going to lean on him a lot, or are they going to lean on him enough to make him more effective than the Titans? Who, if you would ask, who are the Titans? Derrick Henry's, please stand up. You know what I mean? It's been that way for a long time, and we saw an interview with Vrabel when he said, what did he say?
Yeah, he's in the locker room, and he's like, I just want to let everybody know the only reason we won this game is because of that man right there. And hands Derrick Henry the ball.
We got Derrick Henry.
And you hear the commentators all the time on TV. They talk about this is the only team in the league when they're trailing, they start running the ball.
Exactly, buddy. I honestly hope that the Ravens use Derrick Henry more pass catching.
Yeah,
I really do, because again, I say this every season, if he would be used more in the passing game, Derrick Henry, you see him get stopped at the line a lot sometimes. Like, you just see some games where he's getting stopped at the line a lot, and it's that pushing through. It's the yards after, taking hits that seemed, as he gets older, seem to be an issue for him. But I'm telling you, once he gets to the second level, Derrick Henry is gone, my friend. That arm comes out and people start falling. You know what I'm saying?
Without a doubt.
Whew, sorry, I get a little fired up when it comes to the game.
I feel you. But jumping to number 6 on my list, the guy you've already brought up, that's Kyren Williams. I got him at 6 on my list. Like you said, 12 touchdowns last year, which is great. But touchdown is volatile. I believe it'll decrease a little bit with a healthy offense. If you got Cooper Kupp all year long, Puka Nacua, those guys out there both putting up numbers, then that's going to take away from Kyron a little bit.
Absolutely.
But the way he runs honestly worries me about injury. The way he runs just head at people, he's a young dude, but he's not scared, and that's good for a running back, and it's bad for a running back. So that does scare me a little bit. I don't think that he's going to finish where he did last year, but I think he still stays in the top 10.
Here's the thing. I mean, you say you worry about injury. Another good reason to worry about injury with Kyron Williams is he does have a smaller frame. He's not as big, but maybe that he's using that to his advantage, and that's why he's having such great luck last season. I mean, I don't even know. Was he undrafted? I cannot remember if he was drafted or he came in undrafted.
No, he came in and took over for Cam Akers.
He came in out of nowhere. I didn't hear much about him before. He was like on red zone every 5 minutes getting touchdowns.
Right. And Cam Akers, I remember in the preseason when we were drafting, Cam Akers was like that late round running back that you were taking a shot on. Hopefully he got some carries and whatever. And he did, I think, for the first 2 weeks didn't disappoint you, but then after that it was nothing. And
Kyron
come in and cleaned up,
and I'm glad he did, buddy. I'm excited to see if if he comes out and does it again this season.
Oh yeah, then that's going to establish him as probably a first round running back going forward.
Yeah, buddy, absolutely. All right, that's our top 6 or 10-6 going down. Sorry, we're in the top 5 now. Top 5 running backs, my friend, and coming right in at number 5 is the guy that we did kind of touch on a little bit already. It's Jahmyr Gibbs in Detroit. 182 carries, 945 yards, 10 touchdowns. I'm not sure if you touched on that already, but that's his 2023 stats with an RB11 finish last season. And again, I've said this on an episode, I think when we were talking about Amon-Ra St. Brown in our wide receiver rankings video. The Lions, they still had moments last season where they seem like they didn't have it all together. I think this season is going to be like they're going to be a dominant team. That is how I feel. I'm thinking the Lions lose 4, maybe 5 games this season, and I think a lot of that's going to be on the back of Jahmyr Gibbs. That's why I've got him sitting in at number 5, Trey.
Yeah, man, I totally get it. One of my things, kind of like my secret thing, is that I've got my dream is for the Lions to make it to the Super Bowl this year. And I think that they have the opportunity there. Obviously, everything points to the Chiefs winning, but I like the Lions, man. I think that they really got a shot this year. I mean, I've been watching Receiver on Netflix, and it's got going Amon-Ra and all through the season last year, and it really gets you hyped up for the Lions, man. I remember watching what's the HBO show? Hard Knocks. When they did the Lions, and the Lions are really up there on lists of teams that I like, especially with everything that they've done recently.
100%. It's the underdog story. It's the team that's been crappy for all this time, is going to be a good team. We've seen it. I mean, they took out my Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the playoffs last season, and I was mad, but I couldn't hate on them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And you know how I am, bro. Yeah. I get serious about that stuff, and they took out my guys, and I'm like, well, at least we got took out by the Lions,
Yeah, and it's not even just the underdog story. It's the gritty it's the dirty underdog. You know what I mean? It's the guys that got it out the mud, and it feels good to watch the Lions win a game. You're like, yeah, they deserve it because they worked hard for it.
Gates.
Right.
Oh, buddy. Yeah. I'm excited to watch the Lions play. Absolutely, for sure. Bite those kneecaps. Tear them up, boys.
Without a doubt. Jumping to number 5 on my list. My number 5, probably higher on yours because I know he's got to be on there. It is Breece Hall at number 5 on my list. 223 carries for 994 yards, less than James Conner, and 5 touchdowns. 76 receptions, though. 76 receptions.
Ooh.
Now, obviously, that was a Zach Wilson sucks at being a quarterback number, but he got 4 touchdowns through the air. Look, with Aaron Rodgers being behind center, I think it's going to take away a little bit from Breece Hall. However, it could drastically increase his touchdown amount because they are going to be in the red zone a lot more than the Jets were last year. So I kind of go back and forth on this. That's why I've got him at 5 right there in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
But, Aaron Rodgers is the kind of guy where they get out on offense and he throws a 70-yard pass, touchdown, boom, defense is back on the field. Breece Hall didn't get a chance to touch the ball.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, I can see it happening. The only argument I could have for you saying that maybe Breece Hall gets a little bit taken away from him as Aaron Rodgers as his quarterback is Aaron Rodgers can see the field better than
exactly. He likes to air it out.
Almost anybody. Yeah, you're right. And if all the guys are locked up and Breece Hall is right there, he's going to take that short throw because he's not scared to.
Of course,
he realizes that taking the short throws is the long throw isn't always the answer, but it does look pretty on film.
My biggest thing, I think, like I'm personally steering clear of Breece Hall this year, mostly because I think that a lot of games it's going to be Breece Hall RB1, and then the next game Breece Hall RB32. It's going to be up and down all season because of the way this team is going to play out, because of the way Aaron Rodgers is trying to figure things out. And I just think you're going to be disappointed a couple weeks for starting him, and then disappointed that you benched him the next week.
I could absolutely see your point with Aaron Rodgers at the helm making the difference there. But I will say this. I got bit last season by the fade Breece Hall bug. I got bit by it hard. I mean, we saw him just being there. He was sitting at the top of the rankings, but he was getting passed up. And there was reasons for all that, of course. But I feel like I don't want to feel that feeling like I did last season of just knowing I could have took this guy in so many different leagues, in best ball leagues and super flex leagues, and I just passed him up for who? I don't even know. I don't even know, Trey. So that's my thing with Breece Hall. He is definitely a really, really good running back. He's hard hitting. He breaks tackles. He catches passes. I feel like Breece Hall is going to do better than number 5.
Look, all I'm saying is hot take right now in a draft. Breece Hall round 1 or James Conner round 5. Give me James Conner round 5 every day of the week.
Bro, that's spicy, my friend. Spicy.
Wait and see.
Okay. I love it, buddy. I love the optimism. I love the confidence you have in that James Conner take.
Gotta have it.
I'm going to be watching him hard now, just so you know.
You're going to be watching him on my team.
Okay, buddy. In the top 5 now. Going to number 4 on the list of our running back rankings. Guys, if you are watching us anywhere, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to 4th and Flex. We already got a new member of our YouTube family, Flexaholics, Sir Bongs a lot. Welcome to the family. We appreciate the love. Don't forget to hit the like, hit the subscribe, man. We give stuff away on this show all the time, man. We can't wait to give something to our members.
Without a doubt.
But coming in at number 4 on the running back rankings list for me, Jonathan Taylor. Coming in number 4, okay?
Okay.
Last season, we didn't get a lot of Jonathan Taylor as much as we wanted to. That's why he finished as RB 34. 182 carries. 169 carries, 741 yards, and 7 touchdowns. Again, we didn't get as much Jonathan Taylor as we wanted to last season, obviously with the RB 34 finish. But when he did get in there, he started to make a little noise, my friend. And there was a lot going on with contracts and all kinds of things. I think now that the Colts are going to lean on Jonathan Taylor a lot this season, man. And why wouldn't they? He's a powerful running back. We've seen him with the RB1 finish a couple years ago. We know he's capable of it. I mean, there was a time when it was like Jonathan Taylor or Derrick Henry. Which one do you want?
Yeah.
And I would always lean towards Henry. You always lean toward Jonathan Taylor. That's always been your guy.
Yeah.
And that's why I got him sitting.
That's why I have him higher on my list than you do, baby.
I
do think Jonathan Taylor has the potential to be the number 1 running back at the end of the season. I don't have him there on this list, but I do think he has 100% the potential to do that.
Sure.
With Anthony Richardson coming in off of the injury, I think they're going to take it a little bit easy on him because they paid for him and they want to get their use out of him. They're probably not going to let him run as much as he might want to. And Jonathan Taylor can be that bell cow back. If he can stay healthy, that man can run downfield hard and fast. I'll talk a little bit about more when we get to it.
Okay, buddy. Okay. I won't steal all your thunder, my friend.
Number 4 on my list, though, Saquon Barkley coming in at number 4 on my list for the Eagles. 247 carries for 962 yards last year with the Giants, 6 touchdowns, 41 receptions for 4 touchdowns. Listen, Okay, the Eagles, right? With the loss of Kelsey, we're going to have to see if the push-tush even still works. I'm assuming they'll still use it, but not near as much, which is actually going to take away from Jalen Hurts' touchdowns. You know, you're not going to be quarter one of an Eagles game and your quarterback's already got a touchdown because he rushed it for 1 yard. I don't think that's going to happen as much this year. It's going to be a 1 yard touchdown from Saquon because Saquon is a great running back. He just hasn't had an offensive line to open up a hole for him. And if it's one thing the Eagles can do, it's open up a hole on that offensive line. That's one of the best offensive lines in the league, in my opinion, even without Kelsey. And so maybe it's not the tush push that works, but it's the Saquon push that works.
I got to tell you, my friend, like I just now, as you said it, am realizing that Kelsey is not there, and maybe the tush push isn't going to work anymore, man. I'm so glad you said that. I mean, that just brought instant joy to my life right there. Saquon didn't make my top 10 list.
Devastating.
Sitting at 15 on Bandy's
Devastating.
Rankings. I'm going to argue with you here, man. I don't think Saquon does as well as everybody thinks he's going to do. He's very injury prone. He's getting older. I don't know Saquon. He might be a great guy, but from what I've seen and what I've heard of the news and the media, he just doesn't seem like that good of a guy and that great of a team member in my eyes. And he's getting with a new organization. They need to figure out how to use him. I just don't see Saquon in the top 10 this season, Trey.
Yeah, man. I mean, we'll definitely have to see. But the way I look at it is the Giants hurt Saquon. Saquon didn't hurt the Giants. You know what I mean? They relied on him too heavily, and they had to, but he did what he could to provide for the Giants. Now he's on a team where they don't have to rely on him heavily. They have tons of options in amazing people like A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts and all these other people on the team. I really think that it's going to open up space for Saquon, and it's going to let Saquon come out and be the Saquon he was in the past. And he's really going to prove some people how to eat their own words.
Are you talking to me right now?
I mean, if the shoe fits, Bandy.
Oh man. Yeah. We're going to see what happens with Saquon this season, buddy. It's going to be interesting. But let's move it on to number 3. You did your 4, right? Yeah. Moving on to number 3 on my list, a guy whose horn got blown by more people than you would think last season, and that's Bijan Robinson. Okay, last season, 214 carries, 976 yards, 4 touchdowns, RB14 finish, and half PPR. Yeah, Bijan. I am guilty to say Bijan is him. Okay, all the news and the stuff they really pumped it up. Arthur Smith is there. He had Derrick Henry. He loves to run the ball. Yada yada yada. It all pumped me up last season for Bijan. But you know what? It's something we talked about, but something that I just overlooked, and that's him being a rookie. Being a rookie, trying to figure things out, trying to figure his place on the team. And the guy had a lot of pressure on his shoulders. You know, everybody was saying Bijan is him. You know what I mean? And he might be him. The thing is the Falcons have improved. This season, I think they're going to be a better team. They're in our division, so I don't want them to be a better team. But I think that they have used Bijan, failed in many different ways, and are going to figure out. They're slowly but surely figuring out the correct way to use Bijan Robinson, and that's why I got him sitting at number 3, Trey.
Yeah, man. You know, I've got him a little bit higher on my list. Not much higher you can go, but I do have him a little bit higher. And the way I see it is, you know, all the things you said, but also everybody knew that Bijan was going to get the ball, right? Because Atlanta didn't have any other options, okay? Sure. They didn't have a quarterback worth of shit. The receivers couldn't catch the ball. Bijan was the guy who they were giving the ball to. So the teams would just set up their entire scheme for the game, stop Bijan. And when they did that, they won the game, and that hurt everybody in fantasy, and it hurt everybody's hearts at home. Now they've got Kirk Cousins. It's going to open this offense wide open, and it's going to give Bijan room to be Bijan.
To be Bijan. I like it, buddy. All that talk about Falcons, I didn't even mention Kirk Cousins. But don't worry, Trey's there to save the day and remind you, hey, don't forget Kirk Cousins is the quarterback in Atlanta now. I think that's going to do nothing but up Bijan's game, having Kirk Cousins there, having a veteran who knows the game well. It's going to be good for Kirk Cousins, too, to have a solid, young running back who's who's powerful and can get through the line to save Kirk when he's having those games where he's struggling. And he will, because that's what Kirk Cousins does.
Yeah, and Kirk Cousins, if there's one thing Kirk Cousins doesn't like to do, it's get sacked.
Yeah.
And if Kirk Cousins is stepping back and he sees pressure, he's checking down to Bijan every day of the week.
Oof. Half PPR, full PPR. We're going to love to see it, Trey.
Without a doubt. But jumping to number 3 on my list, my man, Jonathan Taylor, coming in at number 3 on my list. You listed his stats earlier, so I won't repeat them, but he only played 10 games last year. He was running back 5 in points per game. So average there. And I've got him at 3 this year. Like I said earlier, with Anthony Richardson coming off the injury, they're going to have to go easy on him a little bit. And I think JT is going to be their safety net. They're going to use JT. They're going to use him as a bell cow back. And I think JT has the potential to be the JT that he was when he finished top 1 or running back 1. I really think that he has the potential for that this year. Will he get there? I don't know that for a fact. That's why I got him at 3 on my list.
Yeah, I like it, man. Anthony Richardson, yeah, the coaches, all those folks want to take it easy on Anthony Richardson. But will Anthony Richardson want to take it easy on Anthony Richardson? That's going to be the problem, because they can tell him everything he's supposed to do, but once he gets on the field, he'll be like, I saw a hole, I took it.
I had to take it.
I had to take it. It felt right, coach. You know what I mean? That being said, I do think Jonathan Taylor is going to be much better than the JT we've seen the last few years. And we're going to find out, buddy. I like JT. I'm excited to see a full season with him under his belt. It's going to be fun to watch. But moving to number 2 on the list. Number 2 on my list, sitting there, is Breece Hall.
I was going to say, if the math is correct, it should be Breece Hall.
The math is correct, my friend. The math is correct. We touched on it earlier. Breece Hall, a guy that I struggled with last season, not taking him really hurt my feelings when I saw him on red zone, just blasting in the end zone, man. There was like 5 touchdowns, but it wasn't even the touchdowns that was impressed me so much. It was the long runs with Breece Hall. How many times did you see a breakaway run with Breece Hall last season? And that's because what else did they have going for them?
Exactly.
They have weapons. They have Garrett Wilson. They had good wide receivers. But if you ain't got a good quarterback to make sure the ball gets in their hands, then you got nothing, okay?
Exactly.
That's why we saw a really good version of Breece Hall last season. I just think they have a smarter quarterback now, one who knows the game and who knows that when all the chips are down, you do have a good running back to give it to. And I think Aaron Rodgers is going to help Breece Hall be number 2 on the list, my friend.
I feel you. Like I said, I have him a little bit lower, but I think he has every bit of potential to start at number 2. Injury does worry me a little bit with Breece Hall, just because I feel like he tends to get hurt at least for a game or 2 every year.
Yeah, I do.
Which will really affect somebody when the running back 1-2 position.
Yeah.
But yeah, it definitely could happen, man.
It definitely could, buddy. It definitely could.
Jumping to my number 2 on my list, it's Bijan Robinson.
Yeah.
I've got him at number 2 on my list for all the things we talked about, and mostly because of Kirko Chain's coming to town, baby. Kirk Cousins in the house. But like I said, he's in store for a monster season with this new offense. He's going to be a bell cow back. He's finally got a competent quarterback, and everything for this offense has a chance to increase, and that includes Bijan in that increase. And I think that the Atlanta Falcons have a big chance to win their division.
Oh, don't say that. Don't say that, bro. Look. If Kirk Cousins coming to town is actually going to make you feel like Kyle Pitts, it's going to be his season, then you must be very confident in that team, my friend.
I'm a big fan of Kirko Chain, man.
I see that. Look, Trey is the ultimate Kyle Pitts hater. He's been burned by him one too many times. I know plenty of you out there know that feeling of drafting Kyle Pitts and expecting the best but getting the worst. But I like it. Yeah, I like it, buddy. I can easily see Bijan being 2. I got him at 3. 2. I was about to go on a Kyle Pitts rant there.
Yeah.
I realized we're talking about running backs right now, so I'm going to let it go and just move on to number 1 on, I assume, both of our lists. You want to hit it at the same time?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Christian McCaffrey.
Christian McCaffrey.
What are you about to say?
I'm just messing with you, dog. I was just gonna say a different name so that way you'd be like, oh, he ain't even on your top 10. But yeah, it's Christian McCaffrey, man. It's got to be all respect given. It's Christian McCaffrey at number 1.
Yeah, buddy. Let's listen to these stats for last season, man. I knew that he was great last season, man. But when you look at the stats, it really shows you what this man was capable of. 272 yards, or I'm sorry, 272 carries. 1,459 yards, 14 rushing touchdowns, 67 catches, 564 receiving yards, 7 touchdowns, 21 touchdowns total for Christian McCaffrey last season. Obviously finished as the RB1. You don't see running backs finish as the RB1 2 years in a row. You don't see it.
You don't see it. But you know what? A couple of those touchdowns that he didn't get were robbed from him. So he could have had even better stats on a couple plays there. So, obviously we haven't seen a back-to-back running back 1 overall finish in fantasy. But I think if anyone in the history of the league could do it, it's Christian McCaffrey.
Absolutely, buddy. Absolutely. I was just sitting here thinking, like, if anybody could, it would be Christian McCaffrey. They have all these things that this has never happened. That has never happened. This is the guy to do it.
But it also feels like every single game, it's like somebody breaks a record or somebody does something that's never happened before in every single game that happens. So, I mean, it's always time for something that's never happened to happen. So let's see if it happens.
Exactly, buddy. Exactly. And yeah, you're right, man. There's always a record to be broken. It's got to be somebody's job, right? That's somebody's job to be like, this is the first time that Tom Brady was watching on the sidelines while Baker Mayfield threw a touchdown. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
exactly,
some obscure fact that you're like, am I excited? Do I care about
that? Yeah. Is that like, wow, that's the first time? Or is it like, okay.
Yeah. And then sometimes when it's happened before, they'll be like in the Super Bowl era.
Right.
Like right. Maybe that happened.
Or since 2013.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. But they always find a way to slip something in there, man. And
it's supposed to get you hyped. But look, all of my running backs in my top 10, I have a paragraph of notes underneath. I have nothing under Christian McCaffrey because he put all the notes out there. He laid it all out to show you exactly why he's running back 1. Look at the stat line. It does not lie. Christian McCaffrey is a monster and has the greatest potential to be running back 1 again this year, outside of the odds being against him in the no one's ever done it back-to-back.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I feel like Christian McCaffrey, I hope he gets a Super Bowl ring. Like, if anybody deserves one, it's this guy. His dad got a couple. Christian McCaffrey deserves a ring. Now, do I want it to be this season? Do you want the Niners to win the Super Bowl?
Here's the deal, bro.
But I want Christian McCaffrey to win the Super Bowl.
Do you want the Niners and the Chiefs back in the Super Bowl this year?
You're just assuming that the Chiefs are going to be in the Super Bowl.
Okay, but say the Niners make it on their end, right?
Yeah.
And the Chiefs make it on their end. That's the Super Bowl again. And then what if the Niners lose? What does that say for the Niners franchise? I mean, you think that the whole team would just disperse, right? It would not be the Niners team anymore. I mean, Kittle, Debo, Christian McCaffrey, all of them would want to leave after 3 years of just destruction in the Super Bowl.
I mean, how do you think the 90 through 94 Bills felt?
Exactly. And this is like, I feel like we might be coming into that kind of a documentary-esque era.
Bro, I do not want to see that game again. I do not want to see the Chiefs and the Niners in the Super Bowl again. And I don't think we will. I don't think it's going to be that again.
Calling it right now.
Are you?
Detroit Lions, New York Jets, Super Bowl.
Ooh, okay, I like that.
See, that's exciting, right?
Exactly.
That's like, oh my God, I want to go to that.
Yeah, man.
But when you say Chiefs Niners, everybody's like, I'm done with the season. Like, turn it off. It's off season time.
Yeah, I mean, let somebody else in there, bub.
Hey, it pays to be great.
Yeah, I guess it does, buddy. But guys, again, if you're watching us anywhere, especially on YouTube, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to Fourth and Flex if you have not done so already. The season's coming up. We got more rankings coming. We got mock drafts coming, man. Subscribe to Fourth and Flex so you can get in on this action, man. We're getting you pumped. We're getting you ready, Trey.
We are.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. And you got anything else to add, buddy?
That's it for me.
Well, then I guess. Thank you so much for watching. And we shall see thee on the next one.
Peace.
Balls of steel, this guy. He's got big balls.